So not even a day after I posted this video about the fact that there's a SpaceFlight Simulator 2, we have even more leaked photos and video. That's right, video. So let's jump right into it and talk about what we're seeing, which I'm going to start with is this texture. Now, as far as I know, they have basically gone and hired a texture artist to provide textures onto the spacecraft. So while we've been seeing some images of some of these spacecraft kind of plain, there's clearly an effort to add more textures onto the rockets themselves. The next thing I want to talk about is this short video of a time lapse of the Space Center. It's showing us very clearly that there are now 2 runways in the background, in addition to the 2 launch pads that we saw yesterday. Now, I haven't seen any new aerodynamic parts other than the wings on some of the rockets, but looking at the Discord, Stef did mention that the runways were more for orbiters and shuttle type space planes rather than SSTOs like you'd find in Kerbal Space Program. I'm sure that over time that'll get changed, but the other thing I should mention with this particular picture is we're seeing here that there's a 3rd capsule type. That's the silver one in the middle, where we saw the smaller one before and the medium-sized one off to the side. We can also see the cupola design when it's closed. So again, as I said before, it's going to open up and it's going to look absolutely amazing. So it's really good to see these animations are in these parts. We've even managed to get a video of the silver capsule to show the reflectivity of it compared to the larger, darker capsule that we saw yesterday, which has its door open. And yeah, this looks really good. You can see the windows. I don't know if we can see through the windows in this, but we can definitely see through the hatch. And then here it is in game on the launch pad, which is really showing off the graphic fidelity of this game and that it's definitely very performant as it's been moved around and stuff. I don't know how this is going to do as we add even more parts, but overall, given that it's supposed to run again on a potato of a PC, this looks really good. And it looks like this is going to be something that is definitely going to be a step above something like Kerbal Space Program 1 in its stock formation. Another thing I wanted to show you was these engines. Now, this was something that Credesign found way back when, and this is something that, you know, everyone looked at as that, is this really SpaceFlight Simulator or not? And there was a big giant hoo-ha on it. Obviously it is. So this gives us a little bit of a look at some of the different skins that you can have on engines of what I'm assuming are the same engine variant types. In addition, in that posting that Credesign found, there was this post of a 1.5 stage where the engines are basically dropped off of the fuel tank and only one remains, where there's 4 that get dropped. This significantly loses the load while still being able to maintain a good thrust ratio once you're into space. Now, this is something that we saw in SpaceFlight Simulator 1's DLC expansion pack for Atlas Mercury, which I believe was called Red Mercury. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. Whereas this here obviously is designed more with the current game aesthetics that we've seen, although this is probably a very early rendition of it compared to what we see later, because we're seeing that the clouds are definitely more volumetric, I would say. So there might be a little bit of KSP tomfoolery in this a little bit. So this is probably more a design idea image rather than an actual in-game image, although I suspect that the actual rocket parts are partly in-game. Although which game they are, I don't know, but I thought I'd share this because it does look cool and it does give us an idea of what they are looking at doing in the game. The other thing we have is a couple nightscapes or sunsets or sunrises over some alien worlds, and this gives us a good idea of like the scattering. I think this is probably Mars, and this is, again, it looks good and it shows that the game has a lot of really good visual elements. And if you're wondering, hey, how does this look when you know, you're in the actual game, maybe as an astronaut? Well, you guys are in luck because we got a video of an astronaut on Mars. But before we do that, I'd like to do a quick little request that you do subscribe to the channel. I'm not sponsored by SpaceFlight Simulator, so I don't really receive any money from them for giving you this information. So it helps keep this channel going if more people subscribe and watch my videos. So let's get to the really juicy content. And here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for, an astronaut standing on the surface of Mars. Then he's standing on the surface. Oh, there's Mars again. And you can sort of see here that this is a time warp test. We can see here that the, I guess that may be Earth, or that might be Phobos in the background, or maybe just a random moon. Maybe we're on a desert. But we see here that as time goes by, the stars are going around the planet. This also gives us a bit of an idea how big these planets are. And you can see here that we are definitely, yeah, okay, we're on Mars. Okay, we're clearly on Mars at this point. There is some weird light striations going on. That's kind of weird, but you can see here that, yeah, there's definitely some decent work on the day to night transition and stuff. And then, yeah, we got little guy was moving. So that's pretty cool. So he does actually walk. You can see him walking. You can see that he's got a velocity and a height terrain. So we do know that the astronaut is apparently 1 meter tall. So that's useful knowledge to know. And he has liquid fuel with him. So I guess that's what he's using for like RCS thrusters or whatever, as we continue to time warp and zoom in and out of the planet where we are standing. So yeah, he's just hopping along here. And yeah, that was a pretty cool video if you ask me. Which, of course, nobody did ask, but, you know, I think it's cool. But this is going to bring us to this image here. And this, while it's not as cool looking as rockets and the surface of the Earth or Mars or, you know, our astronaut, this gives us a very good idea of how this game is going to be functioning. We can see that there are various little worlds. We see that there are, again, challenges. They are still at 23 challenges. You can have cheats enabled, not enabled. Now, there's something called open world, which suggests that there might be something like closed world or maybe multiple different types of worlds that you can actually load. So that's going to be really neat. And I think that this is also pretty telling because, again, this is on clearly a mobile screen because, again, it's vertically oriented. So it does say that, yes, there is going to be PC support and mobile support. And apparently from Stef, he's commented on the Discord again that they're going to try to keep that versions and support about the same so that, you know, any updates coming out for one is going to shortly come out for the other. So that's great news to do. Now, obviously, mobile isn't yet available in stores, etc., but it is available on Steam. So if you do want to wishlist it on Steam, you can do it right now. There's still, as of right now, no planned date for when it's going to be released, but you can wishlist it, and then it'll notify you when it's available. And obviously, when I hear about it, I'll be making another video on when the release date is done. So without further ado, thanks for watching, and definitely check out the other video if you haven't for more SpaceFlight Simulator 2 coverage.